But we certainly have a lot to catch up on, don't we, Aidan, in terms of what's been going on in the news. So a couple of weeks ago, we were told...
industry!
I know. We were told a couple of weeks ago that open air productions could come back, or could start to slowly come back.
And it was announced that with that, it basically came at the exact same time that JCS was going to be performed open air at Regent's Park as a socially distanced performance.
Yeah. We've been told that what was going to happen, the 6 drive-through performance, has now been cancelled.
Unfortunately.
And then now we found out that as of August 1st, indoor performances can start to come back.
As long as they're socially distanced and go along with government guidelines.
Now,
but it is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. As excited as I am about this, I am sort of very, very cautious about it as well. And it's not going to be straight away. If we're doing social distance performances, it's not going to be financially viable for theatres. I don't think anyway. Because if you think about it, it's like if a theatre puts on a show, and like we've all seen that ticket sales are a massive, massive thing when it comes to
of course,
staying afloat. So if you think of it like this, if a theatre sold 70% or 80% of its capacity, they would break even, or they would just get enough to sort of like hit their target. Now, if they're doing social distance performances, how many people are allowed in a theatre at a time? How many spaces?
I think it's about it works out. I don't know. These aren't facts and figures that I've looked at by looking at even from pictures that I've seen of where they, because they've literally gone along, taken out 2 seats, left 2 in, got taken out 2 seats, left 2 in, and I would imagine that being as that's the case, they've taken half seats, so I'm assuming it would be half capacity. Now, considering that most theatres on the West End, on average, for your mainstream theatres, you're looking at around about 1,400 seats, 1,300, 1,400 seats, something like that. So it's about half capacity. So you're looking at like 650, 700 people in per performance. How much producers are going to charge for tickets, whether it's going to be normal price, whether they're going to elevate the prices or drop the prices.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's a vicious circle, because if you up the prices, people are going to think, oh, that's too expensive to go. But if you keep them at normal prices, how long will it take for theatres to break even or to hit their target?
But then I do also think, in argument to that, I do also think that people, we talked about this weeks ago, but us as actors, we're so hungry to get back out there, so desperate to get back out, start working, auditioning, get onto the stage, be in front of a camera, all that kind of stuff. I also think that musical theatre in general, and, has such a huge fan base that I think there are people, quite a considerable amount of people, that will be desperate to go and see a show, be involved in watching a performance, and that will pay those, those extended prices, the prices that have gone up. That becomes the case.
I get it, and it's like me saying all this. To me, I sound myself like I'm sort of like hesitant about its return. I am so hungry for theatre's return. It's unreal. Like, I've missed it so much, as have you, I imagine. But it's like, it's not just the audience, it's the actors as well. Like, are you going to socially distance in dressing rooms? How many people to a dressing room at a time?
Yeah.
What about the ensemble dressing room? It's like, how prepared, or like, what steps are they prepared to take? And will they be effective enough?
I don't know whether that's so much a government issue. I think there are obviously guidelines that are going to be, like it says, the announcement that has come out says indoor performances can take place from 1st of August according to government guidelines. What are those government guidelines? I haven't heard so much about what they are, so I'm assuming that will come out further down the line. But in regards to what you were saying, you're right, mate.
It's like, sorry, I'm just thinking, like, people are asking, Boris has gone, theatres are allowed to return. under government guidelines, and people have gone, but what are those government guidelines?
We don't know.
Well,
it's just like
that's his answer. Like that is his answer. Like he doesn't know himself. He's literally.
But it's like, will it become a governmental thing? Is it about what the government says, or will it become more institutional in terms of you can do a show indoors, and then it's producers that will have to decide how, because obviously producers are going to have to think for the health benefit of their cast so that they can keep the show running. Because if somebody in their cast catches coronavirus, that's it. The show's closed. The theatre has to close again.
And then we're back to square one.
The health checks, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So is it going to become like a producer's issue in terms of the actual show itself when it goes up? Is it going to be, essentially producers, you decide what happens in your doors. Like, you decide whether people have to come in, in wearing masks and stuff like that, and have to wear masks backstage until the very moment that they go on and step out from the wings and then they take the mask off. Or, how extreme is it going to be? Is that going to be up to the government? Is that going to be up to producers? I don't know.
And I'm also thinking about socially distanced performances as well. Like, Love Stories aren't going to be able to do what they do in normal productions. I mean, let's hope no one puts on a performance of Spring Awakening.
Spring Awakening. I was about to say, if somebody puts on Spring Awakening, that's going to be one awkward bed scene at the end of Act 1.
It's like they're in a king-size bed and they do like 5 rolls. They're like, then they're socially distanced.
They can stay at opposite ends of the bed, love. Keep it. It's a metre now, isn't it? It's not 2 metres.
Yeah, you can do Spring Awakening, but Melchior and Wendla are going to have to top and tail. There'll be no nippy nippy.
No nippy.
That's a Friday night dinner reference.
No heavy petting in pool.